I don't like the music. I wanted to change it up, and I thought it sounded good at the time. I don't know. Anyway, it's Monday night. It's Airfix Chill, and we've got 6 on the panel tonight. We've got Sully doing something Russian, I reckon. No, it's TSR, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Swedish.
Yeah,
Swedish. Yeah,
Swedish.
Yeah.
Looking pretty smart. You got Ms. Modeler there. What are you building, Ms. Modeler?
Something Swedish.
Ah, the Sub 105. Well, did you buy that at Scale Model World?
No, I bought this a while ago. I have like 3 of them now.
Oh, fair play. She's trying to get through them. Miss Bodler's got a cracked rib, so she may jump in and out when she can get enough air in her lung, I guess. Alex, I saw Alex on Sunday at Yeovil. Hiya, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. Good to catch up again.
A bit of a smaller show this time, wasn't it? It wasn't so big. I filmed it.
A couple of people said that, but I think it was just different, wasn't it? With the fall down at the bottom and stuff, which was a bit sad because it's quite a long way away.
Yeah, and the bacon bats are crap again.
We see if you're a veggie, you don't judge them by that. So.
Yeah, I bought one of their jam donuts. I should have taken a picture of it, and I bit halfway through it, and I still hadn't come to any jam. So I bit into it again, and there was like a teaspoon of it just layered on the bottom. I was like, "Oh, that's
the worst."
Yeah.
Good portion of jam.
We've got Luke in the chat from Black Rifle Model Works. Have you got a challenge coming up? Is there something you're doing on your? Is there like a group build or something on your?
One group build's just come to the end.
Yeah,
and that was a memorial build for a guy that we've known for years, and sadly he passed away. So what the idea of that group build is, with all our group builds, it's the members that vote for the winner, really, and we give like little prizes and stuff. But we got some really good prizes with that one. Some retailers and stuff have sponsored some real good prizes. But the idea is that it's the members that vote. But with that one, what we're going to do is, whichever the winning build is at the end of the voting process, we're going to have that professionally mounted and then present that to Sam's family as like a reminder of his modeling, like, because none of them are modelers, none of them. So that finished beginning of April. So it's in the voting process at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, fair play.
That's what we've
got. James also on. James, how are you, my friend?
I'm all right. Functioning on about 3 hours sleep, but
I wouldn't be functioning on 3 hours sleep.
And we got Nigel in the house. And we got Nigel in the house. Good evening, Nigel.
Good evening.
Did you get your bits for the Mustang this week?
Yes, I've just made the videos today. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to do a live stream and do everything that I've got so far on that Mustang. I've done nothing since putting the bumper and the wheels together. That was it. I haven't done nothing else.
It's not a lot. It's nothing like as complex as that Lancaster is. It's
no.
It's very, very quick go together.
I saw which part was it for your Lancaster that you put up this week? What part did you put up this week?
8, I think.
Yeah. 8. It's a tidy looking bit of kit, to be fair, Nigel. I think you've got a bit of
it's much better than I expected. It's got more detail than the Hong Kong models kit has.
Yeah, which is amazing, really. Yeah.
Probably cheaper as well.
Levers and everything. It's bloody brilliant.
Has it got light and sound and stuff in that one?
Yeah, light and sound and everything. I mean, the rivet detail's a bit soft. Yeah, and it's going to have great big panel lines everywhere. But, I mean...
Oh, Airfix kittens.
Looks like my dog's supper, that.
We could... But yeah, it does look a tidy build, that. And how many parts is it? 55? Was it somebody say 55 or 155 parts?
130 parts.
130 parts, is it?
But the Mustang's 130 parts as well, so
yeah,
maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah, I think they're having trouble.
Sorry,
I think some of these companies are having trouble because I got an email this week saying that my Mustang, or last week, the Mustang was delayed, And this week I've got an email saying that the Ferrari collection that I'm getting is being delayed as well. So I think that it's very much a case of I think they're having trouble getting it over from China, to be honest.
It's funny you should say that, because I did that video this week saying that Mustang is now available in America.
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thunk it, eh? A 6-scale Mustang GT500 making it available in America. I mean,
what's the point?
Yeah, that's right. You know, you'd have thought it'd been available there first, wouldn't you? Anyway, and somebody replied in there and they said, "Oh, obviously America's getting it, and that's probably why we're having so much trouble getting ours." But I've had no trouble at all.
Yeah.
So, strange.
What was I saying? I just seen Jared there. Jared was there with his model club. Nice to see you again, mate, and seeing your builds there on the tables. And it's good to catch up with you again. I saw you last. I think it was at Bugle Call. I think I last saw you, where you won. You beat me against my Bearcat bastard. But you know, hey, well, he riveted the 1/72 scale plane. I can't remember which one it was now, but yeah, it was so tidy. I was like, my Bearcat looked crap. Put it to the back of the table while Jared was at the front, like, you know, put it off like he'd actually done it on a 1/72 scale. He'd done the rivets and everything. Amazing job. So I didn't have a topic tonight because, to be fair with you, I'm if you don't already know, this week I've taken ownership of Outlaw Paints. So I was in London, on the outskirts of London, Wednesday night. I left at 6 in the evening, drove up, picked up 4,000 bottles of lacquer paint, and drove it back that night. And this week I'll be in meetings, accountant meeting. I've got a web developer now on board to promote Outlaw Paints in this country. But the biggest headache I've got is I need to find a shipper that's going to do a reasonable rate of getting the product across without using air, using boats. So that's my next challenge. But I've just been so far at my ass about it, you know, just trying to sort things out, meetings. My business partner, Andrew, you know, we've made some decisions. So I'm going to be, all that website's going to do is sell Outlaw Paint. That's it. And I'm not going to have a website where I'm going to be selling other stuff. The website's going to be called outlawpaintuk.com, whatever, you know. So the idea is that when you go on there, you will see there's the Australian Outlaw Paint site, and you have a UK website to make it easier, I think. And also cut down on the cost of advertising it in SEO and everything. I'm just relying on the fact that if somebody looks up Outlaw Paint, you know, it will come. And then we've got to then decide how we're going to go forward with, if some shops want it, how we're going to get it to the shops, because it's fine field anyway, being VAT registered, set up a limited company. It's just been, but I believe in the product. I believe in it. And everybody I've spoken to that's used it, you know, they want it. So hopefully now we're going to be, you know, trying to get another batch of primers over. I've challenged Jason to sort out the pink primer. I said I'll buy 100 bottles of primer off you if you get the pink sorted, but he's working on that at this moment, because I think pink primer's missing now. You can't get Mr. Surfacer pink anymore, can you? I've not seen that for sale for a long time.
I've got it in the shop.
You can get it, can you?
Yeah, I've got it in the shop.
Yeah,
wow.
I've got some here.
I've got some
because I went looking for. Well,
can't get the black. Can't get the black for love of the money.
No.
Right.
I found one shop in the whole of the UK. Was it last week or the week before? One shop that had 1,500 black in stock, and they had 8 bottles. That's all they got left. So I bought 8 because I had to get that for a while.
It's a good job you saw it before me, Luke.
Say again.
Say it's a good job you saw it before me.
Yeah, it's just it is like rocking all shit now. You just can't get hold of it. And level internet.
There's only a single importer into the UK, so that shop must have had that for a while. Those 8 bottles.
Yeah,
I
they
found
had that, and they had 3 bottles of lead in them.
Aquagloss.
Wow.
That's like non-obtainable anymore.
Yeah.
I've got.
How many you got? He said 4. I said, I love them.
I've got that, which is the
Oh, the ammo.
So apparently that is Aquagloss. I've only sprayed it once, and it sprays the same. The finish is the same. I don't know whether it is actually Aquagloss, but they say, yeah. So
Aquagloss is white.
Yeah, that's white, but it dries clear. But they say the A stand range. Everything you read online says that the A stand range is Outlaw.
Yes, it's made by the same people.
Yeah, so that I've only used it once because I haven't had cause to use it for anything, but it's exactly the same as Aquagloss.
I swear their metallic paints have got less pigment in them than they did when they were alclad. I swear it.
Yeah. So I've never used alclad metallics. I always use super metallic.
They sent me some. We talked about this before. They sent me some, and I'll show you in here the pigments. It's a joke. That one, blue. Where's that copper one? There's one here which is copper. I've just shaken them because I turned the box over. If you look at here, this is aluminium. Look at how much pigment there is in there.
Oh wow!
It's less than a millimeter on the bottom. Look.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that right?
It can't be.
I thought you were showing us an empty bottle there.
Yeah.
There's pigment on the bottom. See, it doesn't even cover where the bottom. It doesn't even cover that. Look.
No.
Wow.
That's mad.
That's not good, is it?
It's ridiculous. And the other problem is because the bottle's now got this big square neck on it.
Yeah.
When you pour it out into your airbrush, all the pigment stays down here. It doesn't come up and out.
Yeah.
You just get clear when you put it into your airbrush. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to go over to the chat because I want to it's Ask Us Anything tonight. So you're quite welcome to ask us questions, advice, anything. We did it 3 weeks ago and it went down really, really well with you guys. So we thought we'd do it again. And the first question is from Matt B. Question: I've lost the turret on a Tamiya 135th Easy 8 M4A3E8. No idea what I've done with it. Any idea where I can get a replacement? Tried eBay, can't see one on 3D printing sites either. To be fair, mate, buy another kit. I know it. Yeah, it's sometimes, mate, but that's a big turret. You know what I mean? It's
Have you lost it?
Big barrel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think,
like, you know, the Carpet Monster's good, but he's not that good.
it
I
wasn't
have a
that
suggestion. You can buy resin turrets for Shermans
Yeah.
because most kits, turrets are the wrong shape or whatever. You can buy resin ones. Just hunt around and you'll find a resin turret for a Sherman.
Yeah.
I think I know who does one. Give me 2 seconds.
It might be more expensive than a kit.
I was going to say it'd be more expensive than buying the kit, probably, but you can get it.
I think Black Dog Resins do a German turret.
I've just looked on Yegi. There are some M4A3A8 Shermans. You have to buy the STLs, about £10, and then print the turret. But yeah,
fair enough.
I don't think there's a cost-free way of achieving
No, there isn't.
an M4A3A8 turret in 35th scale.
Yeah. Or just tell Tamiya that it never showed up in the box.
Which is fine as long as all the parts are on one sprue.
Yeah. What do you offer? I bought an Airfix P51D. I want to paint the main body in silver, but I've been so underwhelmed with earlier attempts. What advice, recommendations can you offer? To be honest with you, straight away, have you put down a black primer?
Are you airbrushing or brushing?
Yeah. Are you hand brushing?
Do you know what I would recommend if you're not used to doing metallic coats and stuff? Just get a rattle can.
Good
Just
shout.
get some like go to Halfords or like get some Autotech aluminium or something. Spray it.
Or Tamiya PS.
There's mine. That's the same
Yeah.
kit. And I used, if you can, use lacquer. I sprayed Tamiya LP11, but I sprayed it straight onto the plastic. No black primer.
Yeah.
And it's a method that I picked up from Spencer Pollard. And he was talking about natural metal finishes, and he sprays LP11 as a base coat, and then it will pick out certain panels, which is what I did on that, and change the metallic on it, but using the LP11 as your base coat, and it works really, really well. But
LP70 is awesome as well.
Yeah. But any of the LP metallics, I really like them.
And the gift that keeps on giving. They've got so much pigment in them.
Yeah.
And you go straight on plastic.
But yeah, it turns out really well. And I was surprised because I've always, if I'm doing metal, either black or a gloss black primer, always. But doing it that way, it works really, really well.
Fair play.
Or if you can't spray lacquers, like Alex said, use a rattle can.
Rattle can.
There's a Tamiya rattle can which is absolutely awesome. Tamiya silver.
It's
AS. A rattle can is it removes, if you're not confident with your airbrushing, like putting down an even coat, a rattle can gets rid of all of that.
Yeah.
I
look at my I've got a cupboard here just full of rattle cans, and there's been times, on cars especially, I'm like, do I really want to spend 20 minutes airbrushing this at rattle can? Go over it 2 passes and it's done. Rattle can. And to be fair, I know Hobbycraft had them in, and they were about £12, $11.99, I think it were at the time, for rattle cans. So for the price of it, it could be worth it.
I used an Autotech aluminium rattle can for my 124 scale Spitfire. It's just running out now, and that's been almost 18 months. I've used that on various projects. So,
I mean, if you're really tight like me, and you want to use the rattle can color, because there are some rattle cans that you can't get that color in, LP or whatever it may be. What you can do is you can decant that rattle can, let it off gas for sort of 24 hours because of the propellant. Don't put a lid on whatever you're decanting it into. Ask me how I know. Let it off gas, and then you can thin it like you would thin XF or LP or whatever, and you can use it through your airbrush.
Fair play.
Chef
A8 Ivan, question: Moz, when will the Outlaw paints be available from you? About a month's time, because what I want is, because of Outlaw paints are not registered on any color scheme charts at the moment, I've asked for extra 2 boxes to be put on the website. It sounds daft, but you'll bear with me. So when the Outlaw paints go live, you'll be able to search on the website with the FS number and the German number. Was it RFM? And so we're going to be doing that. That's a main thing. And also that we will have the alternative. So if you went looking for Tamiya color, it will come up with an Outlaw color. And that's why we're spending nearly £1,500 on the website. We are, so that we hit the ground running. That's the idea. And I'm trying to build. I've asked for the website to be built, and it's costing a lot of money. Because when I said it, I want the website to be for the modeler, so it's looked upon as, I know what it's like looking at a Hanon site. I know what it's looking like when you go on these search charts. You're looking up for an olive drab, and you come up with colors, and things are being linked that aren't relative to olive drab on these sites. The idea is that we will have a specific, so we'll have the FS9, any other codes that will come with it, that I'll have that, and that's why it's taken a bit longer. But I want to get it so it's sorted and that it's easy to update, so that when new colors come online, we can do it with a CSV file and the pictures, and we're done. That's the idea. So be about a month. but you can get them from if you give Alex a call, he's got a range. Sprewbox still have a website, check it out. And that's basically where we're headed for that kind of. I just want to design the site so it's easy. So as a modeler, I know what I want. So if I want something this particular color, and also there'll be hopefully an option if you're willing to wait a month. There'll be an option of you can send us a shade, and Jason will make it for you and ship it within a month. That's something else that we were discussing, but it's all up in the air at the moment. We're just trying to feel our feet, but it's and we will be, we will be honouring whatever's been honoured before. We're going to be doing that. So, but Jason has said that if there was a particular colour that you want, we, as long as you send him the shade, he can get it matched up. So, be an expensive way of doing it, but if people want particular shades, but if it's a good shade, it will end up being in the range. That's the thing, That's what we want to get to. Like I said, we need Israeli colors. That's what we need at the moment. Israeli colors. There's other colors out there that's needed. So yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, on the color matching side, Moss. Just while I remember, just give us a shout afterwards, because I think I've got a whole bunch of stuff about color equivalence things that I've already done.
Yeah,
because we already have the Outlaw stuff. Might short track some of that. So I just thought of it just then. So
but to be fair, Jason, what's that? Sorry?
Please don't do a close. That color is close. That's what Meng have an AK range of paints. Yeah. And in the Meng kits, they sort of give you a number of something that's close, and it turns out the brand for that Chieftain tank was like Hull Red.
Yeah.
It's not good. Don't do that. Because you order it and then you find, because you can't tell from a color swatch on a computer screen, and then you order it and you're like, but the other thing to bear in mind, if you take Tamiya, Mr. Hobby, Revell, Viejo, RLM 66 German grey, they're all different anyway. So, which one's right?
Yeah. Well, this is it. We've got to find our feet. And that's why if we get it right now, we won't have to think about it in the future, will we? So, but the idea is that if you come to our site in your Australian, it will take you to the Australian site. And if you go on the Australian site, there'll be an English box there. You'll click and it'll take you to the English one. But yeah, I looked at Wix, no disrespect. It's too difficult. It's all templated, isn't it? So this is going to be a bespoke. And we've got a payment platform that we're going to be using, which will be covered. So, and all this DPR and everything. Honestly, it's just like, but that's why I said when we took it on, I said to my business partner, I said, if we do it, we've got to do it right. And the idea is that, the more paint we sell, the more we can bring back over. So it'd be like, increased implements of it. But the thing we've got to get is the primers back in stock, because I think that's going to sell Outlaw paint more than anything. So,
speaking out loud, if you did use air, I mean, how much extra would it be cost per unit? Is it going to be an extra 20?
Basically, no, it's not that. It's quite expensive, right? So basically, if you ship it by air, is one price. If you ship it by boat, it's a third of the price.
Right.
That's how different it is.
If you're bringing over thousands of bottles at a time, if you add that cost per unit, is it going to be anything worth worrying? Is it going to be 10p per bottle or something?
It's more about, it's a dangerous product.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not about that. I'm on about the cost.
It's also heavy though, Nigel. So if you think transporting by plane, the volume and weight, it doesn't plateau off like it does by sea freight. Where you can transport a container, even if it's got
dangerous to fly with
polystyrene peanuts or filled with lead. It's the same price. On a plane, it isn't.
I was just wondering if it's like 50 pence on a bottle, does it? Is it worth going?
It's a lot. It's like 3 times.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
it's and there has to be glass bottles. Has to be glass bottles. So yeah, there's a lot of I didn't realise what I was getting myself into. Am I breaking up? I should be right now.
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, I'm breaking up a bit. Sorry. Yeah, it's a bit low.
Close the window with the porn on it. It's
yeah. I'm going to get a wire and wire in, I think. I believe I didn't realize it was going to be such a big thing, but it's exciting. I'm excited about it, you know. And I believe in the brand. Like, all my paint is Outlaw anyway. I use it all the time. I love it. It's really good stuff. So, but we want to get on the ground running really. So that's why, you know, we've got web developer in, we've got key payments in. Then we've got to look at, just got to find a decent shipper that's willing to take it on. And remember, we've also got to get it from where Outlaw Paints is made down to Australia, to the port in Australia, which is apparently a 6 or 7 hour drive, which Jason's willing to do. And then on the boat, across to us. And it's about a 6 to 8 week turnaround. Hence why I want to get some of the paint sold now so we can actually start, you know, getting and see what's going to be popular. But you got to remember, you know, I didn't realize they do. I'm into military, but they do a phenomenal John Deere green. They do a brilliant Caterpillar beige, you know, spot on as well, you know. And also, I'm not going to aim just for the scale model market. You've got the die casters who love a good paint to do their die cast with, and the RC market. So the idea is to try and envelop into them markets as well.
And the model train. Don't forget the model train market.
Train, yeah, that's it. So we've had good discussions. Jason's excited. I'm excited, and we've got the financial backing for it as well. So, but as I said, it's one of those things. But anyway, moving on. What's everyone working on at the moment? If multiple projects, what's the one you're enjoying the most? For me, I've got no projects on the go at the moment, but I will be doing the Liberator this week, the new Airfix Liberator. I'm going to be doing that this week.
How many you got on the bench, Nice? How many
projects have I got on the go? 2 B17s, a Lancaster, an A20, another model I'm not going to mention, and this piece of shit here.
I'm really enjoying seeing you putting that together.
It's a beautiful, beautiful model. But I'll tell you what, the person that wrote the instructions for this,
they must have been
shagging. Absolute shit. Honestly. And they've got like, you'll see it in part 6, I think. There's like about a 2 millimeter long, 1.5 millimeter square peg to hold the horn onto the bulkhead. But like to fit the exhaust manifold onto the engine, it's like, where is it? There's nothing there. It's just,
yeah.
It's painful. It really is painful.
Yeah.
But it's really got my mojo going because I love a challenge.
Yeah. That was the idea behind it, wasn't it? To restart your mojo, so it's achieved.
Yeah. I've got the Border Model 88 millimeter on the way, and the Airfix Walrus, and the Airfix B24. So, like, I need some kits to get on with, really, don't I?
Because of you, Nigel. Because of you, I bought this at the weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's lovely. It's a handful, but it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very mini artish, isn't it?
Yeah.
What manufacturer is that, boss?
Thunder Models.
Thunder Models.
Oh, Thunder Models. Okay.
They are
models.
What am I working on? So
I've got this to review as well.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Blast on the past.
Nice.
Got that to review as well. What are you up to then, Luke? What are you doing at the moment?
So I'm still working on, over a year later, the Tacom 35th scale Apache. But I still stand by that kit. It's phenomenal. But like you said, the instructions, you may as well set fire to them.
It's the same company.
Yeah. And I built mine predominantly. I'm really, really lucky. A good friend of mine, Jim Clark, lives in Arizona, and he's got an air base next to him. Well, because he was the head aircraft judge for IPMS USA, he knows someone that knows someone, so he has access to that air base. So when the Apaches came back from the sandpit and they were all weathered up, and he literally got up close and personal with him, and he sent me about 600 sort of walk around reference pictures.
Wow.
Of every bit of that aircraft.
Mm.
So I've built mine predominantly from reference pictures, or still am. So I've got that. I've got, what else am I working on? I'm working on so there's the 48 scale Hind P, which I'm doing as a Hungarian Air Force.
Are you doing a video build of that?
Yes.
You getting stick?
Loads.
Yay!
I've only put one video out, and I took a leaf out of your book, which I've never done before. So I made all comments pre-approved.
Yeah.
So I see them before they hit the channel.
Yeah.
And I must have deleted 85 comments that
Wow.
they weren't from modelers. They were just because it's what it is.
Mm.
I was all sorts of nasty things according to those comments, you know. But that's the world we live in, isn't it? That's the world we live in.
Just be careful with any mail that's got Russian stamps on it, Luke.
Yeah.
I've already got the kit. I don't need to order anything else. And my argument is, and whether people agree or not, I bought that kit from a retailer. So what's happened is, obviously that's been going on for about 2 years, what's happening over there. A lot of these retailers had this stock on their shelves way before any suggestion of an invasion or war or anything like that. So the retailers have already paid for that. They've already paid for that stock. So all these retailers are sat there with essentially money sat on their shelves that they can't get rid of. They've already paid for it. But anyway, yeah, I got a few comments on that video. What else?
It's sad, really, isn't it?
I just make a comment about how stupid it is. I did some Quinta Studio reviews and I got absolutely hammered.
Yeah, well, I'm putting the Quinta set in that, so we'll see what happens.
If you go to the PM model store in Ukraine, which is Ukraine's biggest model shop, they stock every single line that Quinta make.
Yeah.
And they're in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So why is some British guy in his bedroom moaning at me on his keyboard that I've got a Russian bit of plastic on my bench, you know? Oh, God. It's just not worth it. But I'm currently building a Russian ICBM launcher, the big trumpeter one. I'm videoing it, but there's no way I'm putting it out there. No way.
Yeah. It's just the world we live in. So it is what it is. And I'm also working on, which is, to answer that question, the one I'm enjoying the most, and I'll probably say so far, it's probably one of the best kits I've ever built, and that's the Edelweiss tank from Zukimura. That's rare as rocking all shit now. You can't get it. I was very fortunate. Someone that subscribes to the channel sent it to me with all of the aftermarket that Zukimura released at the time, including the crew, the lighting set, everything. And it is just sublime. It is.
Is it a what if? Is it a what if?
The Edelweiss, it is a what if. It's loosely based on a Panzer IV. So back in the sort of early 2000s, they released a set. I think it was Sega that released a video game called Valkyria Chronicles, and it was like an anime role-playing type game. And there was two main tanks in that. One called the Edelweiss, which is based loosely on a Panzer IV, and one called the Shamrock, which I've now got as well. And Zukimura released kits of those tanks with lots of aftermarket PE, resin bits, lighting sets, and all that stuff. But it was like a limited run, I believe. So they only made so many. But because it's anime and because it's a video game, people will buy those kits that are never going to build them because they're memorabilia from the game series and everything else. So consequently, the price went up and up and up, and the rarity went up and up and up. And it's always been a grail build for me. But he said he would send it to me as long as I built it. And literally, when I was cutting the first couple of parts off the sprue, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm cutting this kit up, you know, because it's so rare. But it is, honestly, it's just amazing. And I'm throwing everything at it. So I'm scratch building the base, you know, the aesthetic of the game and all that stuff. But I'm loving it. Yeah. It's going to take a special kit to do that.
Are you doing a video of that, Luke?
Yeah, it's on the channel now. Yeah, I think there's 3 parts already up there.
Okay, so so much I look at your channel, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you're a busy man, Nigel. You're a busy man.
That's trouble when you're trying to edit, make your own videos, watching other people's.
Yeah, you very rarely watch anyone else's. Yeah,
I
I always have Nigel on the background because he's got a very soothing voice.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, it chills me right out. I'm falling asleep on my bench, mate.
I sound like a little girl.
I've spent a lot of time in Gloucester. I like that accent.
I could listen to John Alec all day long.
Yeah, John Alec. Yeah,
John Alec, I see it at the moment, no.
Hi guys, it's John here.
Yeah.
We're going to build in a tank today.
It's like ASMR, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The way you talk, just the way it is. It is just like that. Is hi guys. Today we
you should do that like that celebrity series there used to be, where like you read bedtime stories.
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah.
He could start a new channel, definitely.
Yeah. People would watch that.
Yeah,
they would.
Well, I go to bed.
Watch it.
To be fair, I go to bed listening to rain on a canvas or in a driving in a storm. I love all that. I put the headphones on and I just listen to that and I just fall asleep.
I mean, I work night shifts, so I sleep during the day.
Yeah,
and that's problematic just with ambient noise, because it's daytime. So I always listen to, which chills me out, something Japanese meditation music, and I just have that on in the background the whole time in bed. And honestly, I'm out I take some fairly strong medication to go to sleep, but I am out like a light, and it is very soothing and sounds. It's good for us.
What about you, Alex? What are you working on at the moment?
A few things. I've got so I'm still doing the Tamiya 1/12 scale Lotus 49 as a commission. So did that in British Racing green today. Got the first coat. Got the yellow stripe on it. So that's starting to come together. Didn't do it at all with the order of the instructions that Tamiya have you try to put it together, because if you did it in that, because it's got a load of chrome parts, of course, it's an old 1970s kit. It's not been the easiest build, but it is quite satisfying, especially because it's for somebody else, so I can't just like throw it at the wall or something. A lot of sanding. What I've enjoyed more though is I'm finishing off ICM's Beaufort in 1/48 scale, and I just put the Outlaw paints, because like you, Moss, I've kind of switched over completely to using Outlaw for most of my stuff. So I've just done that in Sky dark green and RF dark green and brown. That's going to be a South African version, bomber version. So that's been really nice actually. Kit goes together really, really well. It's got full interior. Look really nice. Yep, shop's still up and running. Yeah, I was in there today.
Yeah, in there today.
It smells of lacquer thinner because I spray a lot of Outlaw paints in there.
Yeah, they love it. They will go in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Annette McCall, I've lost a spinner off an Airfix 148 Spitfire. Would Airfix be able to send me another one if I asked nicely enough? Yeah, there's a spare parts. Depending on which Spitfire you've got, you can contact them. Go to the website. I did a video on it actually about getting spare parts, so you can check out that video. Oh, broken parts. But yeah, there might be a fee for the part and for the postage, and because they use recorded, it is a bit pricey on it. But if you lost the part, it's not their fault, is it really? But they are very helpful. They do have a spares department if you check out their website. And it's
I bought a hot sprue off them recently, and it was £13 including the postage.
Yeah.
And, they sensibly cut the sprue up into, it was a big sprue for a 24th scale kit, and they cut the sprue up into 4, so it sort of went into a large envelope size thing. Pretty, I thought it was a bargain. It's great.
Yeah. Moz, have you got the chrome from Outlaw Paints? No, they've all sold out, but that's on the list to be reordered probably at the end of the month. I'm going to get 20 bottles of that hopefully, because it's a good chrome as well. Can you get a tinted canopy for a Tamiya F35A?
What scale?
Yeah, what scale?
Tinted canopy in the kit.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the 48th one's got a tinted canopy.
Yeah.
He must be in the 72nd one.
Would an STL file work on a Humble printer?
Last,
It will.
If you
But
put
you
the
need
file on
to-
top of the printer.
I did laugh actually because when Airfix did that paper plane, didn't they? That model. There's the one thing you can't print on a Humble printer is that paper plane.
It's funny, isn't it?
Oh,
When
we
we met yesterday, Moss, we spent a lot of time talking about that printer.
We did, yeah. That was, and the guy who was behind that is no longer at the company, so that says it all, doesn't it? You know.
Disavowed.
Captain VFC's there. Hello all. How are we all doing? We're doing great. Thank you very much. Question: who's ordered the Liberator, and should you avoid Airfix's pre-orders and just order on release? Wow.
That's a panda.
I ordered it this morning.
You should order from your local model shop and not
That's
pre-order.
what I did. That's what I did.
Would be my answer.
I get all my pre-orders from Hannants because you always get 10% off, and Hannants are normally one of the first to get the stock.
Yeah.
Or
Jadlam.
I must actually buy something from Alex to support his shop, actually. But I was going to ask, actually, what do you think of it, Moss? That was a shock. That walrus turning up this week. What happened there?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. There's a few that's held back at the minute, so that will they'll all come out soon, I guess.
Yeah, because even Hannah
6 isn't there this month?
coming out in June, and it suddenly appeared in April. So really looking forward to that. Hopefully, it'll come tomorrow.
On my list, I think it was June. Was it on your list as well, Alex?
On
that
Hannah's
it was
list,
due out in
June.
June. That walrus. Alex,
I won't comment
Can you hear me?
because I can. Can you hear me?
but
Yeah.
on that list, it was June. It was due, that walrus.
Yeah,
That's why I
I
last
mean,
looked.
you know, as per Thumper in Bambi, you know,
Yeah.
if you can't say something nice, you shouldn't say anything at all. So I'll say nothing at all because I have nothing nice to say about Airfix pre-orders, their stock system, customer services, or anything at the moment.
Yeah,
I've got that rep coming to see me on Friday, and he's in for a rough ride, I can tell you.
Can I ask you a question, Alex? As a retailer, you know when we get the email from Airfix press release like today, Liberator available now. Do you get stock of that before that comes out?
No.
So
So
when
we
get
get
Liberator,
we get a report of what's it called? Something like the available stock availability report or something. It shows you if you've got pre-orders on that, but only if they're available. So I can't. There's no web portal for Humbrol. They're still working on that.
so have you got Liberators on order?
I know I have. I couldn't tell you how many
Or when?
when they're due.
Wow.
It's not a good system, one that I could support or make sense of, having been in commercial business to business for almost 30 years. It's one of the worst supply systems I've ever seen. So, yeah. I mean, we don't even get notified. So the fact that the Liberator came out today, I didn't know until I saw it on our Discord chat.
I got an email.
I got an email.
I got an email.
Oh, privately, I got an email, not as a retailer.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Why would I need to know as a retailer?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But even if it's available, if say I ordered 3 Liberators, yeah, and I haven't ordered anything else because maybe I just put a big order in from Airfix previously and stuff, they wouldn't ship them because that doesn't hit the minimum order. So even if it's a pre-order, those will sit there until my orders hit that pre-order, and then they'll ship. Even if I ordered them in January.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a shit system.
Have you got walruses yet?
I've got them on order. I haven't got them yet. No,
Hannah's has got them.
I'm sure they have.
Hannah's got them on Thursday. Yeah.
Again,
All right. Say nothing. Let's move on. What's Moss working on? Not Moss.
Ms. Modeler's working on a Saab 105, I think it was. Was it
That's a
105?
pretty old name.
Yeah, Saab 105. There's been a question from Fenris, Lexi, if you want to answer this. By the way, Dave Malarkey says, hello, Miss Modeler, hope you're mending well. But he's put down, life color metals are pretty good then. Have only ever really used Vallejo and have been happy, but that looks great. So I'm assuming that you're really happy with the life colors.
Yeah, I mean, my entire paint collection is pretty much that now. I really, really like them. No one really uses them, and they're not as straightforward as some in airbrushes, but like I really like them, and it's really shiny and pretty.
Is that an acrylic, a lacquer, or enamel? What is it?
Acrylic.
Is it smelly?
No,
Sorry,
not at all.
Not at all.
And this is both airbrush and hand painted, so like there's
looks very
both on there.
I don't really. I've not seen life color for sale anywhere.
There's only like one. Well, e-models and Amazon have them, but it's all done through like airbrush.com, which is like the importer and distributor. But I really like them.
Yeah.
Where are they from? Life Color. Where are they based?
It's Italy.
Italy.
Yeah. Sean Talbot, just been in Halfords after a long time, and the price of their grey plastic primer has gone through the roof. I got told that what was the brand that they have for their? There's a brand that they do, not Halfords brand, but like a main brand, and they said the price has gone up a third on a lot of the rattle cans in there. So, question: has anyone had problems with Humbrol gloss varnish or Humbrol decal fix, where your nice paint just drips off the model when you add a decal on it, or is it just me? Well, firstly, the Humbrol gloss varnish, I would put it down the drain. You know, or
don't put it down the drain. You'll damage the environment.
Yeah, well,
dispose of it.
Drip or drain.
Yeah,
it's quite effective for that, but yeah.
To be honest with you, I used Humbrol Decal Fix for years and years. Never had a problem with it. Like the Decal Fix and their Masco, pretty good stuff, to be honest. Never had a problem with the Decal Fix. I used it for years. Yeah, I use Michael Soul now. I do have a bottle of Mr. You know, the real heavy duty one from Tamiya.
Yeah.
The really heavy duty one.
What's it called?
But at the end of the day,
Mark said, is it? Was that Mr.
Mark
Hobbs?
said, yeah.
Mr. Mark, isn't it? Mr. Mark Fit Super Strong.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff will dissolve paint.
You gotta be careful with it, but sometimes you have to use
it. No, I said to Gary in chat yesterday, he just don't flood the decal with the decal setting solution, because you will take acrylic paints off.
The thing is with decal, see, a lot of people don't do it, but I do. When I pull the brush out, I just tap it on the side of the rim to get rid of the blodge, and then just use what excess is left on the bristles, and that's it. You know, you don't flood decals. You shouldn't have to. You're better off trying, 2 or 3 times. You know, the decals on that lorry I did, they took 2 or 3 coats, but it was little and often, if you know what I mean.
I was to say I used Decalfix for like years, and I used to use it very, very liberally. Like I wasn't dry on it, and I never really had any issues with it. There was some varnishes that had issues with, but to be honest, that's mostly because it was like Humbrol's varnish. If I was in a pinch, that would always react with stuff, but I never really had any issues with Decalfix. I've still got some, I think, but I now use Microsoft like everyone else.
Yeah.
Just want to say, in the comments, somebody who said they reckon the Decal Fix attacks acrylic. So I don't know.
But surely you wouldn't use Decal Fix unless you put some sort of coat on it, like a
So I know where Gary's coming from on this because he's he asked me. It was sprayed with Tamiya on primer,
yeah.
coat of Humbrol gloss varnish, and then Humbrol decal fix, and it just took
There's the problem. The Humbrol gloss varnish is the problem.
Yeah.
How long do you leave it to dry before you put the decals on?
I think it was
About 6
overnight.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Very rarely do I clear coat before I decal, and I know that's a hornet's nest. Some people do, some people don't. Whatever works for you, that's fine.
I always do.
So there you go. So Nigel always does. I very rarely do. I don't use Humbrol decal fix. I use Microset Sol like everyone else, and I use UMP setting solutions, which are very, very aggressive. So they take a bit of getting used to. They're a very aggressive setting solution, but they work phenomenally. And then I clear coat over the top of the decal before we move into weathering and stuff like that. But I would never. I've used Humbrol varnish once, years and years ago. It wasn't their gloss, to be fair. It was their matte coat. And honestly, the model looked like I was putting it on a snow diorama. It just
I had that issue once.
You're white.
with like this white chalky residue all over it. I managed to fix it because I clear coated it in something else, and it didn't fix it all, but it fixed it enough.
Yeah.
But for me, if you want to use acrylic clear coats, I cannot speak highly enough of VMS. All of theirs, matte, satin, and gloss.
I generally wouldn't use an acrylic clear coat over acrylic camouflage. I would go to a different one, like a lacquer or something.
Okay.
And then, because basically, then you've got no chance of whatever you put on top attacking the acrylic because you've sealed it. It's a completely different layer. So you're effectively creating barrier layers. And something again that I can then use white spirits on. So lacquer's ideal for the oil wash, and then again seal that in with a matte coat, probably from a rattle can, So you've got different layers. I think the problem with decal fix is that unlike a lot of other solutions, like Microsol is acidic, it's basically very dilute spirit vinegar. I think the decal fix is the other side of the spectrum. It's actually used an ammonium base, so it's quite basic.
Yeah,
and I think that is the problem. I think I don't have experience with it directly myself, so I'm kind of guessing. But from a chemistry point of view, I think that's the issue. So,
yeah,
in that you've got the clear coat, which is Humbrol, which is apparently the same kind of edge of the pH spectrum. So I think it's just reactivating when you put on the decal fix.
The one thing I would say, if people are using acrylic clear coats like Aquagloss or Tamiya X22 or whatever, quite often when you use Set and Sol, you will get a white stain around the decal. And I get people sending me photos all the time. What am I going to do? Just leave it. It might take a day or two, but it will disappear. Alex said, if you want a really good, solid, rock hard, really good clear coat, Tamiya LP9 is absolutely.
I was going to say that,
yeah, Tamiya LP9.
I don't know what the Outlaw stuff's like.
I've quite enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Do they do a clear gloss?
Yeah, do a clear gloss. Yeah, it's quite good. They do. Yeah. So you got your gloss clear, and then you've got your satin clear. So you've got like the give a really good shake.
I'll have to get some of them off you.
Yeah. But they also do a really good 4K as well. So
right.
But yeah, it's see, I don't like using matte. I like to finish off my war models with a satin finish anyway. So
I'm going that way lately.
Yeah.
And old.
I've tended to use things like Army Painter. I think it's called anti-shine matte varnish because that isn't matte. It does tend to be like a slightly on the matte side of semi-gloss, if you know what I mean. You can have that kind of satin silky look, or you can have that slightly matte, and that kind of is on that.
If you want matte, that stuff there
is
matter than a matte thing on a matte day. Honestly, that stuff is so matte. But you rub it with your finger, it comes off. It's just.
Yeah.
If you want a really hard, really matte coat, then Dale Rowney Artists is rock. I mean, it's, you know, you can fire bullets at it. It's not the acrylic stuff, the solvent based stuff, and it's super matte. I mean, it's just like you could put it on 4K and it would just be like flat afterwards.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Winsor and Newton Galleria matte, artist matte, thin about 60-40, and that's proper flat. Like and
I think it's more or less the same thing, isn't it? For the two manufacturers.
Yeah, it's robust. Definitely. I would, in my opinion, avoid that.
What's that one?
Yeah. The artist matte varnish.
Can you thin that with leveling thinners?
Yes.
Luke, I used that stuff originally that you had in your hand there. I think they've changed it because it was really good.
My experience of that is you're lucky if it works. That's all I can say.
See, I don't know. I'm very, very particular now. I think there's a reason why mediums like that come in glass. And when it comes in plastic, I think that's where the issues arise.
You think? Because that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's enamel.
You can either thin it or you can spray it neat as long as you turn your pressure up. And it's phenomenal.
But I think there's an argument to be had with glass and plastic with our mediums. I really do believe that, you know, like for instance, you know, I'm sure the Vallejo goes off in plastic. I think that if you've had Vallejo for a while and it's in that plastic, and you know, in the winter you've got your heat in your house, the heat you warm, and the plastic's going to get warmer quicker than the glass is. That's for like an example. I think as a, you know, LP always comes in their jars, don't they? You know, so. I think there's a lot to be said in glass, and Outlaw paints come in glass. He doesn't use plastic apart from the lid. That's got a double seal anyway. You've got the seal underneath, which is a bit of a bind when you take off the lid and they got to use your fingernail to poke off. But you know that it's sealed. You know, and I just think there's an argument there with buying things plastic, buying things in glass. You know, but just sort of. Dave Coombs has asked, main model armor kits any good? Just ordered a Rolls Royce armor car. That's the 35th.
Yeah.
That all main kits are lovely. They're good. That particular one has got a lot of accuracy issues. I think they've used a restored museum piece for their reference, and apparently it's got like 1950s wheels or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Meng as a kit, from a modeling point of view, phenomenal. They're really good kits. Sometimes, like Nigel said, and that one's renowned for it, accuracy can be a little bit questionable. If I was going to build like a World War I armored car or whatever, I'd probably go cobblestone models.
The only one, there is no one else. There's Rodin, but
I mean, you can say that of a lot of the Chinese manufacturers, can't you? They've come, you know, they've got a lot of technology. There's a lot of like excellent modeling there.
Yeah.
You're not bothered about accuracy particularly. You want something that looks, you know, good, or you don't care about that. They're fantastic. It's if you want something accurate, then you've either got to check your sources and be prepared to do some like scratch building or alteration, or, you know, as the other said, go on recommendations of modelers who really know those subjects.
Yeah.
Right, DP Gumby's asked. Sorry,
Alex, what did you say that paint was called? That matte clear?
Well, I think it's the one that you had, the Winsor and Newton, or Dale Rowney.
It smells like enamel.
Yeah, you might have a different one. They do. I know Winsor and Newton. I think they call it Galleria.
Galleria,
Yes.
With an acrylic. Hold on, mate. I'll show you. Let me find it while you're chatting.
Because I've seen somebody, they're using Winsor and Newton Galleria acrylic medium to glue down ships' wooden decks.
Yeah.
Apparently it's much better than glue.
Yeah. DB Gumby just asked a question: what's the best gloss varnish, please? I'm airbrushing Vallejo 62062.
Sorry, that stuff's there, nice.
Yep. That one there.
Right. Thank you.
Galleria.
We just discussed clears, didn't we?
Yeah. I think we just established Vallejo is not the place to go for
No,
a
not
gloss
the
varnish.
place. No, no.
No, with that Vallejo one, I think it's not thin enough. The pressure's not high enough.
Oh, it's just.
Will Outlaw look at having a range of correct Royal Naval colours, including modern? We've had a discussion with Jason because he's got quite a lot. There's a lot in the mix with Australian and stuff, and I was saying that a lot of it could be transferred over to UK. But email me that, and I'll email Jason just to confirm what his plans are with Royal Naval. There's a lot more to be added to the range, definitely.
Deutsche Regan Marina as well.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying to him, you know, he's an Australian company, so he's gone heavily with Australian colours. But then, if you actually look, I reckon a third of them you could easily put an English label on them because it would be in English colours as well. But that's the idea of the FS colours, you see. So you can look at FS, it may say Australian, but it'd be the same as a UK equivalent. So we need to talk about that with it as well. So every time I put down VMS XXL matte or gloss on Tamiya paints, I get a white sludge over the top. Is it not compatible?
I do that all the time, never an issue.
Probably put it down too heavy. If you put it down too heavy, it sort of almost like crystallizes, doesn't it?
Yeah. So with VMS, if you look at their YouTube channel, they've got how-to guides on all of their products, which is really useful, to be fair. So I've found with the matte, and it is counterintuitive. So with the matte, you have to put it down wet, which is counterintuitive because you're looking for a matte finish, aren't you? But you put it down. Say again, mate.
What do you thin it with?
I don't thin it. I spray it straight from the bottle.
Wow.
You must have the pressure high then.
0.5 needle.
Okay.
At about between 30 and 35 psi.
They recommend a minimum of a 0.4 needle.
Yeah, and it works fine. But you can thin it. I've thinned it with UMP thinner, and I've thinned it with. I think I've used leveling thinner in the past.
Yeah, one thing about thinning any sort of varnish is that's where you're most likely to get problems. So either use what the manufacturer recommends. Well, either do it neat like Luke does.
Yeah, and that's what they recommend.
Or test it first, because I've used Tamiya flat varnish, which works fine if you thin it with Tamiya thinners. Even if you put 70% pure alcohol as a thinner instead, you'll get white blotching.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not a chemist, but I'm guessing you're changing the chemical makeup of that product, aren't you? Surely.
Well, yeah, but Tamiya products are about 70% alcohol, different alcohols. There's butanol and stuff in there. So I thought 70% ethanol, which is the most miscible of all alcohols, would be okay, but it doesn't like it. So I switched to X20A. It was fine. So I suspect Darren's problems may be how you're thinning it.
Yeah.
If you're not thinning it,
like Jared said in the chat, he had trouble with VMS until he started to flood it using a large needle and high pressure, and that's exactly what VMS recommend.
But they sell more of it as well, then.
Yeah.
It's really counterintuitive because it's not.
We're talking mist coats on everything, aren't we?
Yeah, but yeah, the gloss, I've not had good results spraying it in the same way as the matte. So flooding it, I've built that up in like maybe 5 or 6 layers, thinner layers.
Yeah.
But always neat, never thin.
I remember what LPJ told me about using VMS, and that is when is before you spray it, shake the bottle, let it sit for a bit, and then spray it.
Yeah,
I've heard that said before.
Yeah,
it really does bubble up big time.
Sean Talbot, it's getting silly now since China's treatment of how you say that, to be honest.
Oh, come on, Matt. Give it a go.
Ergers. Is it Ergers?
Uyghur.
They're no building Chinese manufacturers kits. Say goodbye to a hell of a lot of these kits then, including Taka, Meng, Dragon, etc. Yeah, I understand all that, but that's why then get rid of your iPhone. Get rid of your Fergus, your television.
Get rid of your BMW i3.
Unfortunately, 60% of everything ever manufactured that's used, is from China.
Oh, well, it's got to be more than that, hasn't it? If you're looking at components and stuff, it's
not really. It's like you think about it. Yeah, I get that, but like electrical wise, yeah. But then you've also got Japan, Korea, India, and mass producing stuff. Even if you look in the modeling world, Poland's quite big. So yeah, but it's about 60, 65 or 70%, isn't it?
Yeah,
electrical one.
It's a lot.
But it is, yeah. The only thing is with like things like Zvezda, they're owned by Russian government. So there's that argument as well. But yeah, it's all the same, really. It's all the same.
What the point we were making now? I can't remember who mentioned that. Made that point or raised that question. It was Sean, wasn't it? The point we were making was the trouble is people are was Sean. People are looking at Luke building a plastic model of a Russian helicopter, and straight away they're hammering him because he's supporting Russia or whatever. It's a bloody piece of plastic which happens to be molded in the space of something which was made in Russia. I mean, it's even got to the point where if you did an Antonov, you would get a shitload of trouble. An Antonov Ukrainian.
Well, I built, was it last year or beginning of this year? I built the Meng Buk, the anti-aircraft Sun.
Yeah.
Now that's obviously Soviet era. I built it in Ukrainian army colors. It's made by Meng, so they're not a Russian manufacturer. The amount of grief I got about that when I was putting it together before I painted it.
You know why?
It makes no sense because the Ukrainian armed forces are using that equipment currently to shoot down Russian aircraft.
But do you know why you got a stick? Because that piece of kit is what took out a civilian airliner and killed hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
but everything we build, if you're a military modeler, everything we build, whether it's Allied, Russian, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a weapon of war. Is designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to kill.
74,000 US airmen, 74,000 just US and just airmen, not ground troops, US airmen lost their lives over Germany in the Second World War. Right? 99% of those would have been from flat guns. I have had no stick whatsoever from anyone about building this.
That's what I was just going to say.
A lot more than any fucking book has.
We had a guy, and I won't name him. He was a member of our group, and I call it virtue signaling, basically. So he had a lot of Zvezda kits in his stash a couple of years ago, when it all sort of kicked off. So he made a big deal on the internet about he was getting rid of all his Zvezda kits from his stash. He'd already paid for them. So, that money's already been spent, but he made a big deal of it. He was getting rid of all his Zvezda stuff, anything Russian, whether it was made by Zvezda or not, getting rid of all of it. He then replaced it with World War II German armor. And I think you'd have to go a long way to find any military that committed the atrocities that the German military did during World War II.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Luke, just ask Kanye. That Hitler guy wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
He was just misunderstood. He had the right intentions. Yeah. Okay.
He had a lot of struggles in his early life. He wrote a book about it. Yeah.
I've read that 3 times.
Well, the funny thing is, a lot of the German armor is sort of stuff that's appropriated from the Czechs and the Russians, ironically. So the Marder 3 is a Czech chassis, and the cannon is Russian, derived from a Russian anti-tank gun.
I've
I
seen
think we don't want to turn it into
together on a Junkers 88 made in USA.
I don't think we want to turn it into like a political
No.
debate.
No.
But like I said, everything that we build, if you're a military modeler, everything we build is a weapon of war. It is. It's designed for one thing and one thing only. The reason I build it is not because I glorify war. I've been to war 6 times. It's horrible. No one likes war.
No.
However, the technology and the engineering that develops in the military world, that's what interests me. Because, I mean, you take, for example, my job now. So in the UK now, we have something called the trauma network. So for major trauma that happens in the UK, whether that be an RTC, a stabbing, a shooting, whatever it may be, the way that that's now managed in the UK and in the US is a direct copy of the way trauma was managed in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
And as a result, now thousands upon thousands of civilians that are involved in traumatic incidents worldwide are surviving when 15, 20 years ago, they'd have died. So whether we like it or not, war does breed advancement. And whether that be in technology, medical science, whatever it may be, it does. And that's what fascinates me, the technology.
It's any sort of conflict and competition breeds innovation. I mean, you look at it in the commercial space, you know, the companies that can innovate. Look at it in modeling in general, right? If you look at the Chinese companies, they brought in a lot of slide molding. They brought in, you know, cheaper prices. Yeah, that's because of their, you know, questionable human rights pieces. You know, but they package really well. And they forced themselves into the market. They produced like 1,200 kits in like 5 years or something. You know, phenomenal. You know, that's part of capitalism generally. You know, they're forcing themselves into the market. But it's forced other manufacturers to look at what they're doing. You know, would Airfix have reinvented itself if the market was still like it was back in the 80s? Maybe not, because there isn't the pressure there to. But we've had all of these companies, and they're all like building on, and it's great for us because we benefit from all of that. And I mean, at the end of the day, we build what we think is cool, what we like. I mean, it's not driven by ideology, is it? I'm not building a German tank because I'm a Nazi. I build it because it's got cool camo, or I like the way the angular tank looks, or whatever.
I'm fairly sure everyone sat here, if, you know, we all run YouTube channels, Facebook groups, Instagram, whatever it may be, and I'm fairly sure that if someone joined a group or subscribed to your channel or whatever that was that way, and they only built German SS stuff, and then you look at their profile picture and they're stood there in an SS uniform, you know, and all that stuff, and then you check their Facebook profile and there's a, you know, they're stood in front of a white power flag or whatever. I'm fairly sure that everyone sat here, and I think the community as a whole is the same, that person would be given short shrift. Without a shadow of a doubt. Just because you're fascinated by the camo scheme or the technology or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're glorifying conflict, that you're a sympathizer to whichever nation or ideology that represents. It doesn't mean that. It's a plastic model. We're not running the UN. Who cares?
No. And there is a fascination sometimes with the other. I remember as a child being fascinated with the Soviet Union because it was seen as this big enemy. You know, I grew up under the threat of, you know, the 4-minute warning and imminent nuclear annihilation. It was terrifying. But I was still fascinated by like the MiG-25, you know, and the mystery being debunked of that when it, you know, landed in Japan with the defection. You know, there is a fascination with all these things. It doesn't mean that you subscribe to the ideology of that country. I think what Stalin and communism did in Russia was a massive setback to the Russian people, and, you know, millions died under horrific circumstances. But a MiG-25 or MiG-31 looks cool, you know.
And they're absolutely fantastic modeling subjects because the Russians don't look after them like we look after Typhoons. They let them get beat up. They leave them outside. They fade. They get covered in moss. You see Su-27s, don't you? With all the sides of the cockpit or sweat. The pilots have been clambering. They don't go and touch them up like we do. They just leave it.
Well, when your engines only last a couple of flights, what's the point?
I got 2 points I want to raise. Firstly, was that I do get the idea of the Russian thing and the Ukraine thing is a sore subject, same as the Israel thing. I did that JS3 vintage classic tank from Airfix, and I lost a raft of subscribers, and it wasn't even Russia; it was Soviet Union. They don't know the history. But going back to war, one of the biggest things that ever happened in this world was the race for space. We had Russia versus, and it was, in fact, it was brought out of how far can we get this missile to go up, and the fact that they put that satellite, that all it did was go bing, 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 Russia did, and Americans shit themselves, didn't they? Right, that's it. We need to get our own.
Not being funny, Mod.
The whole Star Wars thing was a fantasy of lasers in space to destroy the missiles from Russia. It was bollocks. It was propaganda. But when Russia said we're not going to bother with space anymore, the Americans shit themselves again and said we need to get all these scientists involved in space again. How are we going to do it? We'll do a space station. Let's invest our time, effort, and money into a space station so that they had something to do. So these scientists weren't thinking of ways of making the atom bomb bigger or easier or whatever. So there's that side of it as well. But the second point I was going to raise was everyone has a conscience. Everyone has a moral dilemma on what they build and why and when and how and what model companies they use. If you want to build Zvezda, that's fair enough. Me personally, I know that anything that's new on the market from Zvezda is owned by it's a Russian company, so it's owned by Russia. So if you buy a kit, you'll put money into their pass. That's my moral dilemma. And I could say, I can buy a Chinese kit, and the human rights record of China is fucking disgusting. These death vans going around killing people. That's the way of the world. It's up to the modeler themselves, and what right have you got to attack and slay a modeler because of their thoughts on building a particular brand or kit or whatever? None of your business.
The world we live in, the internet, it is what it is, and you can't let yourself get wound up by it.
Yeah, and I think as YouTubers, we kind of, the reason we all still have YouTube channels after a couple of weeks is that we've got fairly thick skins, right? Or have learned a strategy to deal with that, because you do get loads of crap.
Also, because none of us and none of the people that I associate with, there's nothing on our channels that is inflammatory. There's no, there's no sympathizing with a particular ideology, or there's none of that. It is a hobby. Personally, that's what must have about Zvezda. I personally, because of my own views, wouldn't buy new tool Zvezda kits. However, I have got Zvezda kits, but I've had those in the stash for years. And I didn't buy those direct from Zvezda. I bought them from a local model retailer who's on his arse pretty much 365 days a year anyway, because there's not a lot of money in it. So he bought those kits from his distributor or whatever. That's money sat on his shelf. Would I buy a new Tools Zvezda for him? No, because he doesn't buy new Tools Zvezda stuff, because of his conscience.
It's exactly the same. I mean, for me in the shop, because I had the same, moral quandaries, like, do I stock Zvezda stuff? And I do have Zvezda stuff on the shelves. It's pre-invasion stock from my distributor that sits there. I don't sell much, and if somebody wanted a new tooled one, that might be a different thing. Nobody has asked me for a new tooled Zvezda kit.
I think that's the general not many people are buying new tools of Ezra stuff.
No.
But that's the moral dilemma. That was the moral dilemma that I had. Do I, you know, I went to Bubba's Model Railway and they had Vesta tanks there and they were cheap. And at the time, the war had just started. And I said to him, I said, you know, if I was tempted to build that tank, I probably would buy that kit. But anything new that comes on the market, I wouldn't. But you know, but it's a moral choice for me. Not to buy
it's a very personal choice, and I certainly wouldn't criticize anyone if they did buy a new tools of Ezra kit, or I wouldn't. It's not my place to cast moral judgment on somebody.
I think it's a really old-fashioned phrase that applies, and they don't apply today, of course, in the world of 2024, the crazy clown world which we seem to find ourselves, is people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, or let he who has no sin amongst you cast the first stone. There's my religious upbringing coming through.
Yeah.
Not that I'm at all religious, but
we've done politics.
If you don't have any Chinese stuff in your house, if you don't buy anything Russian, if you are absolutely saintly pure, then maybe you have something to say. Even so, you should keep your nose into your own business and not other people's.
Absolutely.
But let's face it, none of us are, 100% clean on that front. So what right? It's the same like with gatekeeping our hobby and saying, what's right or what color's right or how many rivets, all that kind of stuff. It's just like, unless somebody asks for your opinion on something, keep it to yourself.
And your opinion is your own. And I was having this discussion with a very well-known modeler in the US just yesterday. We recorded a podcast with him. And unfortunately now, so for what we do on YouTube, on the internet, social media and all that, we are a very, very small percentage of people that build models.
Yes.
Very small. We're not the elite. We're not anything like that. But we're a very small percentage that take the hobby to the next level. And we share our hobby in a very public way. But for every one person that does that, there's probably 1,000 that are sat in front of the TV with a dinner tray, putting a 70-second Spitfire together, brush painting it on a Sunday afternoon or whatever.
Yeah,
they're the main people in the hobby, without a shadow of a doubt. And you can see that when you go to shows and you chat to people. Most people that I chat to at shows don't even know about YouTube. They don't even know, like, it's not a thing, but they still enjoy the hobby in their way. And it's for them to enjoy it in their way. Whether I think that Spitfire doesn't look as good as it should, they're not putting it in a competition. I'm not judging it against others. They're happy with it. They've got the enjoy. If they've enjoyed the process, they're doing it right.
Yeah. 100%.
Like what Nigel does, for example, I don't do that. The stuff Nigel does is phenomenal. He'll take a kit and he'll basically re-engineer it.
He does moan about it a lot, though, doesn't he?
He's very but you're very good at it, Nigel. You're very good at doing that, and your attention to detail is phenomenal. For me, that wouldn't give me the fulfillment from my hobby that I get from my hobby. I'm not actually that arsed whether that particular nut or bolt is in the right place, or it doesn't play on my mind to the point where I'd then cut it off, resin cast my own, and do it that. I don't build that way.
I not like that nuts and bolts, but the anchor on that Sharn horse was a joke. Anchor on the biz box.
I'd have just painted it brass and stuck it on.
That did sound a little bit like starting off with "I'm not racist," but Nigel.
And what about that Dora white railgun, Nigel?
The
Saw art one.
I've got 144th scale, 172nd scale, and 135th scale. Yeah, that drove me around the bend.
Yeah,
because they're all wrong. They're all complete. They've all got the barrel too long, And because they know the barrel is a certain length and they've made it too long, everything else is overscale. So they look like with the long barrel. So.
But I think everyone's approach is different to their hobby, isn't it? And there's nothing wrong with that. And the moment people, and we all know who they are, the moment people start criticizing others for their approach to their hobby and everything else, that's when you start to alienate people. And ultimately, if that was allowed to grow within the community, that's what's going to kill the hobby.
Yeah,
because people just won't bother.
I don't get criticized, but I do sometimes get 2 dislikes in about the first 12 seconds of the video going out.
Well, that means that you've made it, Nigel. If you've got your own page,
Yeah.
I've often got a dislike before the video goes live. Yeah, it's just like, oh, there he is, the little hater troll, whoever he is, or she, or they.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, so you dislike just the idea of this video? Okay, fair enough. You do you.
I know there's at least 5 people, at least 5. There's probably a lot more. But looking at the percentages of likes against dislikes, which only you can really see now as the creator, right? You used to be able to see dislikes, you can't anymore. But as the creator,
there's an app for that, Luke. I'll send you.
Yeah, I don't need it. But I know there's at least 5 people, like you said, Nigel, within the first 10 seconds of any video I put out or any live stream or whatever it may be, dislike. And I'm like, well, I'm not that bothered because it's interaction regardless.
You look at the screen now, Luke. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tell him, Nigel.
And how sad must that individual be?
That they waited.
They're just waiting for you to do something on the internet so they can dislike it and feel better about themselves for 20 years.
Yeah.
The thing is, they must have my notification bell ticked because as soon as the video goes out, bang.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're subbed and they're giving you, know, an interaction, which drives the algorithm. It's,
exactly.
Thank you, trolls.
Yeah. But like you say, you've got to have a thick skin if you're involved in social media in any way, shape, or form. You've got to have a bit of a thick skin because it's the internet, and the internet is what it is in every area, not just modeling.
Yeah, I think we can get down to it. You know, at the end of the day, as I said, it's your own choices. You know, you want to build Resident, crack on. I've made a choice not to. But then you go down. You can be political and all this. You know damn well that Airfix shit a brick when they think about what they're going to release next because of the fallout of what happened with the Afghan house.
And it was such
all those years ago.
They're in a slightly different position though as a commercial company, aren't they? Because they have to make choices that aren't, unlike Hollywood, they're not trying to actively antagonize their audience. So, and we've seen what happened to some of the flops that have been happening there because they're politicizing it rather than just making good entertainment. And we just want good kits, right? So it's like Luke said, we just want the entertainment piece, and not bothered about the wider politics. That's really, that was because it was taken up by the papers, wasn't it, Moss? Nothing to do with the modeling community. It was
just as a caveat to that model looked nothing like an Afghan house.
No, it was an Iraqi house, wasn't it? Yeah. It was. That's what it is. It's. They have to make these choices, and they still don't do now. They don't do. Well, I can't say that because the F-35B is modern warfare. They don't try to release kits, or when all this came out of the Ukraine, and every model company, well, I don't say every, but a huge amount of model companies were releasing kits in support of the Ukraine. Airfix didn't. Tamiya did. They brought out a tank, didn't they, and had it in Ukraine colours and ICM and all that. Airfix didn't. But when Maverick was on the telly, wasn't it? Released in the cinema. Oh well, we've got an old MiG here that we can use, isn't it? And put Top Gun Maverick on the box. They haven't done it recently, but
there are MiGs in Top Gun Maverick.
Pardon?
Yes, there is. Sorry, there is. Wasn't in there? No, it's not a MiG, is it?
No, it's not. It was.
F5? Is it?
It was.
That was Top Gun, the original one. They called it the MiG-28, and it was actually an F5.
Yeah, with F5 painted black.
Yeah.
And they called it the MiG, didn't they? And there was a reason for that, was because you could have it like a MiG-17, but it wasn't even a MiG, was it? It was another
Sukhoi Su-57, I think.
Yeah, in the new one, the Maverick one, there's
Yes,
the
Su-57.
A couple of felons, yeah.
enemy fighters as Sukhois, aren't they?
Yeah, because that's the one I got.
That's
Well,
an F-18.
F-18.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the old FA-18. It was an F-18E in the
Yeah, because they couldn't use stealth technology because of plot reasons.
Yeah.
Because they weren't allowed to fly those.
That's an F-18C you got there. And they only used E's and F's in Maverick.
yeah.
He's at it again.
But
Fuck off.
I was told, if you can cast your mind back to the 90s, and Iron Eagle 2, where it was the joint operation between the Russian Air Force and the US Air Force, and that to destroy some rogue state compound. But if you watch that, the plot is so similar to Maverick, so similar.
Right.
And apparently that's where the Maverick plot came from, was from Iron Eagle 2.
Was it really Iron Eagle 2, was it?
Yeah, because Iron Eagle originally was a sort of like a poor man's version of Top Gun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you
But
know
it's
something?
if you can put up with the bad acting and the bad cinematography, Iron Eagle 2 is a great film. I love it.
It's a brilliant soundtrack.
Something that got me about Maverick was when you got the shots of Tom Cruise taking off, and he's got his arm up here on the right-hand side of the canopy. And obviously he was in the back of the aircraft with the camera on the back of the pilot's seat, wasn't he? So I looked into this. And you know, when they take off in an FA-18, they do hold a handle on the side of the canopy. They don't touch the controls.
Yeah, they don't touch it.
Once it's launched, then they take control. They actually hold a handle on a canopy when they take off. I could not believe what I was reading.
That's because that's in case everything goes wrong. So
I guess. Yeah. It's incredible.
I thought I had the MiG here. I had. I'm just looking now for it. I had the MiG here. It's called the MiG, but they called it a MiG 22 or something because all MiGs are odd numbers, aren't they? And they used, but it wasn't actually a MiG that they used. It was another plane, and it was an American plane, and they just blacked it out, didn't they?
In Top Gun, we've been here about 5 minutes ago, boss. In Top Gun, it was an F5, Northrop F5.
That's it, F5. That's
and they
the
called
one.
it. Oh God! Press F5 for God's sake, boss. Press F5.
There's a bit of delay on your line, Moss.
I'm standing here.
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, there it is. Hang on, is that it? No, I've got it here. I bought all 4 of them just for shits and giggles, like. But now I can't find what I've done with them. I've got the Mustang with his, but I can't find the freaking. Where's that to? Is that the one there? No, it's not it. Is that it?
That's right, Hobby Type. It was a freedom fighter. I couldn't think of that then.
No.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think one film they used Phantoms as mix, didn't they? That was in Iron Eagle.
That was an Iron Eagle 2, yeah. They used the F4 as MiGs because that was supposedly the Russian Air Force going to the US to train for the operation. Yeah, and they were Phantoms, they weren't MiGs.
What's that film when they got German World War II crews driving down the road in fucking grey painted M38 trucks?
That's not Fury. Is it Fury? Is it Fury?
Is it Fury? It might have been.
It might be Fury that they did that, yeah.
That's the bloody Mickey. I can't find it now. But yeah, basically there was a set of it. So you had this one here, come as a set. So you had the F-14A Tomcat, that one there. Then you had that one, which was Top Gun.
That's Maverick.
And then you had that one as well, the F-18 Hornet. So
Aircraft, though, it's weird.
They
didn't use those aircraft.
But Viper and all that, they had different planes altogether again, didn't they? In the first one.
Yeah,
but yeah.
F-14. There was an A4 Skyhawk, F-14, and F5s for the MiGs.
Mm.
There you
Yeah.
go. Hags is saying in the chat, don't forget the
Yeah.
King Rem 47 pattern in Battle of the Bulge.
Oh God, yeah. Even as a kid, I looked at that and thought, those aren't German tanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is another film, isn't there? There's a Panzer IV or Panzer III, and if you look closely, you can see the Land Rover wheels underneath the tracks. The tracks aren't going round.
Well, even Saving Private Ryan, you know, you look at the Tiger and you think, I wish they could have got, you know, a 4-driven sprocket tank to mess up rather than the rear-wheeled T-34 they used.
Yeah.
We call it the MiG. I've got one here somewhere. I'm so annoyed now. I kept them all together. But yeah, that was a job lot. 5 kits. So, but it's for sale now, $17.99. But it's a god awful kit anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
They're all god awful kits. Anyway, Steve McQueen's bike in Greatest Great Triumph.
All the mosquitoes in 633 Squadron.
Yeah. That's because the G on the catapult launch would cause the pilot to pull back on the stick. So comment there.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it caused the plane to stall.
I like Top Gun. I even though he's a weirdo with his Scientology bollocks, I do like Tom Cruise's films.
He's eased off a lot of that though, hasn't he? Now?
No, he's still up there, mate. He's just a shadow.
Yeah, I think again, like Alex said earlier, you know, Top Gun, Maverick, Iron Eagle. There's a whole list. They're entertainment. They're not supposed to be political commentary. They're not documentaries. You know, they're just there for entertainment. The same as we get entertained by gluing bits of plastic together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it, we weren't expecting, you know, War and Peace as a plot line in Top Gun Maverick, were we? We wanted to see planes flying around and doing, you know, stuff that they don't really do against SAMs, which seem to have like, you know, 500 liters of fuel and stuff. But we know it's all silly, but it's entertaining. It's cool.
Yeah.
We're not that simple, guys, are we? We just like seeing fast shit.
Exactly. Great soundtrack. Planes doing stuff that they'll never do in reality. We love it. You know, that's it.
We know Maverick's going to be the one that hits the target. We know there's going to be some sort of upset.
Absolutely.
We know he's going to steal an F-14 at some point from the.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not Iran.
He's going to.
I was literally just going to say that. No, it wasn't an Iranian one at all.
Yeah. What uses Russian equipment and still has F-14s? It's drawing a blank.
It's like Rambo 3, isn't it? You got Rambo there on a horse, and there's this fuck off huge helicopter coming in, and he throws a stick at it and it blows up. You know what I mean?
Completely realistic. Yeah. I think maybe that's proved that. Yeah.
Is a fictional helicopter. It's not a real.
No.
It's a Puma in drag.
I think they took one helicopter, then they put some sponsons on the side of it. It's not a real. It's not a real combat gunship at all.
What do you think of the hind shots in Rambo? I thought they were pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The hind.
Whether you agree with the politics or not, no one can deny the Hind is a phenomenal piece of kit.
Oh God, yeah.
It's Russian. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's you cancelled, Nigel.
Well,
not being funny.
When you saw my stash, everything I own, which stays on the ground that doesn't fly, pretty much everything I own post World War One is Russian or Israeli. So I'm fucked.
I mean, the Macarthur, it's a cool looking tank. It's weird.
It is.
It's not like
It's all right, comrade Nigel.
Sorry?
It's all right, comrade Nigel.
But Alex, you talk to scale modelers who do armor, and you've got the British lads who all they will do is build a Tiger because they love it. They won't touch a Sherman, what, you know, or a Churchill or anything.
It's quite
But they will build a Tiger because they Tiger one. You know, they love them.
Mhm.
And that's why Airfix have them in their range every year. You look at everything that's in their range every year. It's always the bog, the German,
sells.
it's what sells.
Yeah, Spitfires.
And
Sorry.
Heinz, as you
I
said,
just,
Heinz,
I just released a MiG and it's in Hungarian colours or something.
Yeah.
yeah. I think
They've got a MiG in American colours, haven't they? So
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah.
I'm a Bearcat fan, and everybody knows it because
Really?
I just love the look of it
I don't think he's mentioned
and the
that.
sound of it. I've got a friend in our model club, and all he does is build flankers because he says it's the glorious thing you can hear on the ground. And he's done all the SU 28, is it? SU 28?
27. Yeah.
27 is
To be fair, there's usually a flanker in each club.
Yeah.
There's 6.
Even so much,
the W is silent.
and even so much, he put one of his, because we had kits for sale there. He put this out here, the Flanker D, for £3.
Oh my God.
I bought it.
Nice.
I just wanted her.
Is she
But
in
that
there?
doesn't even work. It's like half a figure with a big, bubble head on it,
Yeah.
But no, and there are, so I mean, people will. It goes with the scam show on the weekend. There's Russian SIG there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a guy called the Russian
SIG. There's a Russian armor SIG. There's a Russian aircraft SIG. There's a flanker SIG. All of those.
MiG SIG.
There's an IDF. There's a website dedicated to IDF modelling.
Yep.
You've got to be pre-approved to go on there. I got rejected.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you?
You go on there.
Why?
You've got to email a certain person and ask, and then you've got to answer some questions. And I got rejected because I said I'm particularly interested in, because there's something that fascinates me. Russia built a T-55 or T-54, and then it was sold to Egypt, and then Israel captured it, refurbished it, and then it went off to Jordan. So you think of the shipping possibilities you got with that, what you can go back to, and all the updates and everything, and they didn't like that. So I got
it's a big mountain, isn't it? It is a rabbit hole to go down, isn't it? And
I
sometimes you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Just the colours as well. The different colours they have, they're so different.
Yeah.
So much better than.
And I think going back to Luke's point, about what fascinates us, and for me, the competition, the different approaches, like that acceleration even through the Cold War, which was still a conflict. It was just wasn't an active one.
Yeah, it
But
was
if
just
you
been
look at the SU-27 compared to the F-15 Eagle, the different approaches the two nations took, and the planes evolved in similar ways because similar levels of technology existed, but there were different approaches in there, and the way that the Russians focused on maneuverability for dogfighting, and the Americans went more for like long range, beyond visual range, carrying capacity, extended range, all this kind of stuff. It's just fascinating, I think, because we're all humans, right? We all have the commonality. It was same species, same brains, and we put in these situations, what are the solutions we come up with? Like the NASA pen and the Russian pencil thing,
Alex, can I just interrupt you there a second?
Yeah.
You said we're all the same. We all think the same. We're all the same.
Well, no, I didn't say we all think the same.
Some of us are women.
He's been cancelled twice in the same show. It's amazing.
There's a good question there, Moss, from Polygon, if you put that one up.
Well, firstly, just build a Spitfire and be safe, all right? Or build an IDF Spitfire.
He's finished off
with Hitler flying it.
Yeah.
One piece of advice to someone who's starting into modelling: read the fucking instructions. Simples.
Don't blame the kit. Always dry fit.
Stick of that.
Don't blame the kit. Always dry fit.
Always dry fit. My
stick of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I love it. Yeah, it's there, and it's on my toolbox that I take to shows.
I don't think I've got one of those, Moss. I'll have to pick one up next time I see you.
Yeah, I've given you a couple, I think, right?
My
I've got all the others.
advice would
Sorry, Luke.
be is to buy the best tools you can afford. That would be my one, because we all fall into the trap, particularly when we're new at it. Shiny box looks cool. You buy 100 kits because they all look cool, but then you haven't got the tools to put them together. And there's nothing more frustrating. It's like having a full packet of fags and no lighter. You know what I mean? There's nothing more frustrating. So get a couple of kits, quite straightforward ones. Airfix are great. There you go. Nigel's got one. But buy the best tools that you can afford, because they will serve you so well, and they'll last you a long time.
I've had people ask me questions. You know, they've got they're building a Bandai Millennium Falcon. What's the best sanding sticks I can get? I can't afford those Infini ones.
But you bought a Bandai Millennium Falcon. You know, why didn't you buy a Millennium Falcon and some sanding sticks?
That's it. I've just paid like £900 for this Bismarck. Would super glue work? You know what I mean? I've had
Can I put it together with copy decks? No.
I've got half a tube of Yoo-hoo from 1992. Is that okay?
No, it's if you want to upset someone, I brought a Bismarck 1/200 scale kit. Can I paint it pink?
Paint what colour you want.
Yeah, if you want it.
My advice.
Someone has asked the question: what do you use to drill holes?
The drill.
Yeah. I find if you get a needle and put it over a lighter, then you can pierce it.
Just carefully your fingers. Put something around the other end, otherwise you burn your fingers.
Get your knife and just turn it.
Do you know what? I think I've told you this before. When I was at Rolls-Royce, I had a lad come up to me, an apprentice. He said, "Have you got a drill I can borrow?" I said, "What size do you want?" He went, "About that long." I am not lying. I am not lying. Seriously.
Classic.
I could not believe my ears.
Also, buy yourself a bottle of Tamiya Extra Thin and thank us later.
Yeah.
I would also say, do something that you love as a first step. Don't buy something as like a test model, because if you have a disaster with that, you won't love it, and any problems will be amplified and things. Just do something you want to do and just enjoy it.
And never build a subject you're not interested in.
And I think now, as someone coming into the hobby, I mean, I've only been building for 11 years, so I didn't experience like you guys did prior YouTube, prior internet, I didn't experience any of that, but I've learned so much from YouTube, social media groups. I've learned so much because there's such a wealth of knowledge and experience, and people are willing to share that knowledge, experience. I don't think I'd be building models like I'm building now within the space of 10 years if I wasn't involved in the social media side of things, because the learning just seems to accelerate. I can watch Nigel do something in almost real time on a video. Well, 30 years ago, I would never have had that opportunity unless Nigel was at my local modeling club and I might see him every third Thursday. It's
Well, and the other thing is, if you didn't catch it the first time, you can rewind it, play it again, you can pause it.
You can slow it down, and you can see it frame by frame. Like it's just phenomenal, the amount of knowledge that's out there, and it will, if you get involved in it, it will accelerate. You're careful which groups you join, because some of them aren't that helpful. But
I will say this. I will say this. What I've noticed on a lot of the groups, if somebody puts them up saying this is my model kit, it's one of my first attempts, there's not a lot of negativity, well, hardly any. There'll be more in trying to encourage you to keep on going. When you get to certain groups, there's certain groups that will critique it to death. And then you want to stay away from them. You just want to, look, think of when you're a kid. Like, you know, I always say that the reason why there's graffiti everywhere is because of fridge magnets. Because kids come home, they show you this crap picture, and what do you do? Oh, this is wonderful. Shove it on a fridge. You know what I mean? And there you go. Your fridge is covered in graffiti. So it's fridge magnets. Now, when you first start, it is like being a child. It really is. And you start to learn. And the best thing about it is that if something doesn't work, just experiment. If you're struggling with certain paints, leave them. Go to something else. You know, but don't think you're going to go out there and become an airbrusher. That's not the way it works. You refine your skills using a hairy stick first.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to say it annoys me, because that's a strong word, but whenever there's a big show, whether it's in Europe, the UK, the US, wherever, what happens on social media is that it gets flooded with images from the competition area, you know, gold class, world beating modelers. And what happens as a consequence of that is people that perhaps aren't there yet, or people that are at that level, can become very intimidated by those images. I'm never going to be able to do that, so I'm not going to share my work. I'm not going to post my stuff. That's completely the wrong way of looking at it. Use those images, bearing in mind some of those images are the best modelers in the world. Use them as inspiration. Use them as a, you know, I'll never get there. I'll never get there. I am average at best. I'll never get to that level. But there are people out there that are at that level.
I disagree. I think you're phenomenal with your weathering and stuff. I think your modelling is some of the best I've ever seen. But
it's all opinion, isn't it? It's all opinion, and we're all our own worst critics.
Yeah, and I think where I'm sitting now, having been modelling for 54 years and having a fairly large YouTube channel, I think my opinion counts for something. I think you're absolutely
Nigel's opinion counts for a lot. Let's tell me you're extra thin. That was Nigel's suggestion.
Yeah.
There's VMS Black. That was
all day long.
Decent nippers. That was Nigel's suggestion.
I'm sure it's cost us all thousands over the years, because he mentioned something we all go out and buy it.
And Nigel, I don't like weathering. Florida dirt wash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say, like you were saying, you know, art is, you know, eye of the beholder. It's like I look at what's that? Is it Edvard Munch Scream? You know, that the woman, you know, that picked that up. I looked at that for real. I think it's a load of shite, but it's a priceless piece. It is. I could do better. I could get a woman to look, you know, and I always say to myself, you know, what, you know, it depends what people are doing. You know, a lot of people, like for instance, with 3D Gizmo, with that dingo, I bought it because I wanted to do a 3D resin build. And I said to him, I go, you know, how do I glue it? Oh, just use super glue. Just touch it, bang, it will work fine. Brilliant. Okay. And I said, I see a lot of negativity about this because it's low part count. He said there's a lot of people who love building dioramas. They can't be asked with the faff of building a model with 190 pieces for a tank, you know, and I get that. And that's where you've got to look at, you know.
1171 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
I love mini art. I love mini art T55s.
Yeah.
However, if I'm putting a T55 on a diorama that I'm then going to cover half it in a tarpaulin or whatever you're going to do with it, would I get a mini art one? Probably not. I'll probably get a small one.
What I can't stand with a lot of these Chinese manufacturers now, especially Riffield Model. I don't know if you've experienced this, Luke. It's like when they do stuff like the little towing eye on the back of a Sherman tank, and it's photo etch, and it's about 6 pieces of photo etch, and it's all edge on, glued on, and it's just give us a plastic option as well. We might not want all that. You know, we're going to cover it in mud anyway.
I think
it falls off.
Are in
doing.
And this comes back to what Alex was saying about these gatekeepers and these people that, because people will turn around in certain circles, and if you've put a plastic towing eye on your tank, they'll critique it because it's not quite to scale. It's not quite detailed enough as on a Macava, etc. So the manufacturers then get pushed into this position where, or certain manufacturers get pushed into a position where we've got to do it that way, because if we don't, the elite that they consider themselves to be, they're not going to build that kit because, or they're not going to buy that kit because we haven't given them the option. Whereas for most people, like we were talking about, I couldn't give two shits whether, I'd rather get a plastic one, put it on there, weather it appropriately.
Yeah.
Done.
I'd rather have the option.
Yeah, the problem is with a lot of the photo etch stuff, and I was having this discussion with this guy last night actually, because he's a photo etch guru, he's very, very good at it. But my problem is because I like to weather. If I'm doing armor, I like to weather them. I like to make them look used. The problem with delicate photo etch parts is when you come to that weathering process, it's very, very easy to then either knock it off if you've got a tool clamp or a tow hook or whatever. It's very, very easy to knock it off or damage it in a way you don't want it to be damaged. Plastic is a little bit more forgiving once you get to that weathering stage. And that
VMS black thin super glue, Luke.
Say again, mate.
Have you got VMS black thin super glue?
Yeah, yeah.
If you use that, you very difficult to ping it off. It's actually quite.
And I bought recently. I got, because I do use a lot of photo etch. I build a lot of mini art stuff, and next year I want to do a ship, so I'm going to have to do a lot of photo etch stuff. So I bought one of these.
Oh yeah,
really good, really good.
USB soldering pen.
USB soldering iron.
Yeah, it's like a little pen.
Oh
really
right, you can do some soldering. Okay.
Yeah. And it's really, really good. And it, for me, it removes that faff. Do you know what I mean? Of gluing edge to edge, little tiny photo etch. Because I
use soldering whenever I can. I've done loads of videos.
A mess. Whereas soldering is the way ahead. But it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to go out and buy a soldering iron and use flux. And not everyone wants to do that. They just want a plastic part they can stick on and paint. No, neither's right or wrong, you know.
And that's what I was saying the other day about the, people were going the first scout ethic, saying that the plastic was wrong and the back end was wrong because of really you should have used photo etch there. But if you want to use photo etch, go and buy it. There was somebody who will do that. But I do say often that the reason if they this is a photo etch part and they don't offer it in a plastic part, I won't build the kit. Because I don't want to do photo etch. Seriously, I don't want to do photo etch. I've tried it. Even this one here. This has got a photo etch in it. I'd rather, they've got photo etch for the fan. I'd rather they put a plastic one in as well.
Yeah.
So you have a choice.
It might have. It might have in that.
I think it has. No, it doesn't. On the instructions, it's saying use the photo etch.
Oh, okay. Because Lacore has his own photo etch company as well.
Oh, yeah. Please do that live, Moz.
This one.
We'll all tune in. We promise.
Yeah. I won't laugh once.
I'll do it.
Guaranteed an audience.
I'll do it as a paid membership only video.
Seriously, we talk about all this technology. Name me possibly the best model kit manufacturer to ever walk the face of this earth. And they're in New Zealand, and they were owned by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Wings.
They don't feature photo etch. There's usually about 4 or 5 bits of photo etch in one of their kits, and they don't do slide molding. And yet they're one of that border model Lancaster has got 1,600 odd parts in it. It's got about 6 bits of photo etch in it. The whole starboard cockpit, people talk about mini art being great. The whole starboard side of the cockpit interior is one piece of plastic. There is nothing you glue on other than the seat. It's all one. It's painting. It's all about clever painting.
Yeah, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with some clever painting design. You can do a lot because you're creating almost a visual illusion. I never paint eyes on 35th scale or less ever.
That's something I want to learn off of you, Lucas, painting figures.
Because
do that.
at that scale, so even if you're putting it into a competition, chances are the closest that judge is going to get to that figure is between 8 and 12 inches away from a 35th scale figure. That's probably the closest their eyeball is going to be to it. Judges aren't allowed to take photos and zoom in. They aren't. Some do, but they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to use any sort of magnifying stuff. They've got to look at it and whatever. Well, at 35th scale, from 8 inches away, as long as you can create a shadow where the eye should be, it gives the impression of an eye.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're really, really good at figure painting and you can paint eyes really, really well, at 35th scale or less, there's never a requirement to do it.
No, it's what you said there. It's the illusion. What we're doing is creating the illusion of what is happening. We talked about this about light and stuff before. I'm looking at all of you on the screen here, and on my screen, everybody's head is about 1.5 inches tall, which is what, maybe 1/12, 1/6.
Yeah, 1/12,
1/10. And I can just see the whites of our eyes.
Can't see mine because the reflection of the glasses.
And not of everything.
I can't see mine.
Sully's are the hardest, but
Sully's a camouflage.
yeah. And yet you see people do white eyes in 1/72nd scale figures. It's just like, guys, a wash is actually
More than adequate.
That.
More than adequate.
So actually, I was having this discussion with a customer in the shop today. We were talking about exactly this, and I brought up some photos on the computer and put them even at 1/24 scale. Guy in a Spitfire, you couldn't see his eyes.
No.
1/24 scale equivalent on the screen, and it's just like people do kind of overdo it.
And the trouble is,
the actual subjects look at reality rather than what you think reality is. It's why
as a species, we look at a face and we know there should be 2 eyes, one each side of the nose.
Yeah.
So regardless of scale, we think we've got to put them on, but actually, if we create the illusion of that shadow where our skull overlaps our eyes in general, then that's enough.
Yeah. It's funny.
People do paint eyes. They generally get one eye looking over there, one over there.
But it's funny because I remember my mate years, because I like anime. I Mazinger Z and things like that when I was growing up. And he said, "Do you ever notice the eyes? They've always got like that square bit of white. So you got the white of the eye, then you've got like the pupil, then you've got the outside, the different color, blue, brown. But Chinese, they always put like a white square by the eye, so like a reflection of the light. And you look at it, and they all do it, but in real life, that's not true, is it? It's just because they add it to give it a bit more look.
I saw a guy in America doing a 16th scale figure. And he started with the eyes, and he said, never put a circle. He painted a black line. And then, because he said, when you look at eyeballs, it's not round. Your eyelids cover the top and bottom of the eyeball.
So talking about anime eyes, because they are a very specific style, the way they do them. The only way, really, unless you're real top of your game. So I'm painting an anime crew for the Edelweiss. And there's no way I can paint the eyes in the way that I would do it on a normal 35th scale figure. It
and
just
they've
wouldn't.
got big eyes, haven't they? The big, shiny, glowing eyes.
Decal eyes,
Wow.
Decal eyes, yeah.
Wow.
You can get those. And they're anime style eyes for females. So they've got like the real exaggerated eyelashes and all that sort of stuff and the oversized eyes. So you can use those, but I couldn't paint them. No way.
I've got to say, Luke, that's a really thin excuse to rely on for visiting those websites. But
whatever works.
There you go. That is anime eyes.
Yeah.
That is anime eyes.
Yeah. Now, I defy anyone. I've got some really good, expensive paintbrushes, but I defy anyone that could paint that eye on a 35th scale figure.
Yeah. Just an unrelated question. Why was there a mouth there as well?
That's my other hobby.
I think we've hit 2 hours, Moss. We should stop.
Yeah, we should start. We've gone from Maverick, IDF.
I don't think there's any chance of this video being monetized, Moss.
Yeah.
COVID.
Definitely. It's always a good chat with you, lads. It's always good banter in it. You know, it was a free for all. Thank you all in the chat. I've tried to get through as many questions as I can tonight. So I had a complaint, so we don't look at the chat too much. I understand what you're saying, but like I said, we go into a rhythm, don't we? And we kind of keep going off onto a tangent, then we move ourselves back in. But it's always good to have you to watch us. And again, remember to subscribe and like to all the channels here. And it's free. You don't have to pay to subscribe. So always give us a little thumbs up.
I say it's free, by the way.
Yeah, I know you do. It's completely free. But yeah, it's really good having you all on. It's always been the 2 hours go so quick. It's like somebody said the other day that they listen to it like a podcast now. They have it in their car and they listen to it like a podcast.
It's that sort of format, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not showing technique guides or tutorials or whatever. It is just a chat about the hobby and then offshoots of what comes. Films.
It's our Monday night equivalent to going to the pub, isn't it?
It is definitely, yeah.
Next week we'll have a Russian flag, a German flag, and what's else, all on screen just to upset everyone. So
I'm currently building SU-27 in Palestinian colours.
I've literally just finished that Su-27 in Russian markings, not one negative comment. But I put the video up of behind, and oh my god, I'm like Satan incarnate.
Yeah. I better not put my Third Reich macabre up then.
Anyway, gents, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same time, 8
Night all.
Cheers all. Bye bye.